made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 312 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Naomi Mills, and if you want to know about Vitalism and chiropractic, let's go to Scotland. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today we have Naomi Mills coming in from Edinburgh, Scotland. My co-host Luke Millette is coming in from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and myself, Jim Chester, is coming in loyally from Grand Junction, Colorado. And before we jump into this episode, just want to set some ground standards. We protect free speech with this platform in chiropractic and with the Chiro Hustle podcast. And we do support the Sacred Trust. If you guys don't know what that is, go Google it. And we do support subluxation-based chiropractors. And if you wanted to be reminded of that, we can tell you more about that. So with that being said, welcome to the show, Naomi.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, in typical Chiro Hustle fashion, we're interested in your story. And I know the people out there that are watching this and that will watch us on replay are interested in your story as well. So if you could just open up and give us a little snapshot of who Naomi Mills is, how you got into this beautiful profession of chiropractic, and maybe some of the things that you're doing today, that would be a great introduction.
Absolutely. So I first of all started thinking that I wanted to be a doctor because I don't have a cool chiropractic story. I have never been adjusted until I went to chiropractic college. But I did work in the hospital as a nurse helping cut people open. And funnily enough, I didn't fit in. And I couldn't figure out what it was. Like, I knew I wanted to help people and the doctors and nurses had great intentions, but it was such a stressful environment and a very sick environment, and you only ever got told if something went wrong or someone was really unhappy with you. And something in my soul was like, there must be something out there for me that is about taking care of people, but the way that I felt I wanted to take care of people. And I actually think I did some Googling of like, what the hell could I find that isn't medicine? And I came across chiropractic, and as you can anywhere in the world, I called them and said, I want to come and see what you do. And it was everything I'd ever dreamed of. Just walking into that office, and it was the guy that studied at Life Chiropractic, and he knew everybody, he knew their families, knew everything about them. He had a lovely environment, and I just remember sitting there, probably like the second client he had come in, and just like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what I had in my brain that I've never seen before. And so then I applied to AECC in Bournemouth. There are not so many options here in the UK. There's kind of 2 major chiropractic colleges. So I went there and did my 5 years. And I don't know how much your listeners know of that model, but it's fairly pain-based, medicalized. In the UK, they try and fit us alongside what they understand, so general medicine. And my first year as a chiropractic associate, I went back to work for that guy. And the first year, my mum, he was very vitalistic and used a lot of language, but unfortunately never explained what it meant to me. So I just remember thinking, like, why are all these people coming? Why are the babies coming? What's going on? And then my mum called me about 10 months in, and she said, I was driving home from work, and she called me on the car phone. She said, what are you doing? She's driving home. And she said, don't crash the car, but I've got cancer. And so she was 56, super slim, runner, did yoga. And unfortunately, 3 months later, I lost my mum to end-stage stomach cancer pretty much overnight. And that was my wake-up call of, if I'm just looking at someone's pain, I am missing everything about them, potentially. And when we look in the bigger model, she had depression, she ate a lot of sugar, she struggled to sleep. There were so many nervous system signs that she was sick. but she didn't have any pain. So nobody picked up on it, and she probably had it for years. And that was what got me on my vitalistic journey, actually. That huge wake-up call of, I cannot just go, where's your pain and can I press on it? What is going on with your whole person? So yeah, that changed everything.
I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
Okay.
I lost my father to cancer, so I know what it's like. So, since becoming a chiropractor, what are you doing to make yourself different or to separate yourself from other chiropractors? Or what makes you unique?
Quite often in the mornings, I'll go, like, do you guys know what wild swimming is? Where you go out in the sea or in the lochs of Scotland in the freezing cold with my clients quite often, 2 or 3 days a week. So I'm so different to the other chiropractors. I always say to them, like, chiropractors for back pain is really bad marketing. I tell them about the central nervous system and something. So I guess what I didn't then put in my story was the part where I worked for 10 years down in England and had a wonderful, vitalistic practice, had 10 rooms, a big team. And then I was like, I need to go and take this further. I need to be part of the Scotland College, and I want to teach. I want to share my experience because I feel like I'm very balanced. I've come from one end to the other, and I've been all the places in between. So I've moved. I've got an acre of land looking out onto the little mountains in Edinburgh, and I run retreats actually. So the way I get in is I invite people for 2 or 3 hours to my space, and we do ice exposure or meditation or barefoot walking. And then I explain to them, hey, that's your nervous system. That's you connecting with your body, because in Scotland, even the life expectancy is 20 years younger than in England. Like, our health is traditionally and statistically not fantastic in this country. So it's trying to make it meaningful to them. And stressed out mums are the best way, aren't they? And they're in charge of everyone's health, and giving them ease and peace, and then going, hey, you can lie on the table and I can help this happen for you and help you all sleep better and concentrate better and be better parents and happier children. And they just, they love it. But it's fine. I'm not suggesting everyone needs to run retreats in their marketing, but for me, because I love to do it, it's really provided a great way in. So that's what I'm doing.
Let's touch on two things before we talk more about this Scottish Chiropractic College. You got to tell me what this wild swimming thing is.
Well, you know Wim Hof, the Dutch guy? Sits in the ice. So it's it's all about stressing your nervous system so that it becomes stronger and helps the immunity and everything. So we just get out in nature, waterfalls, lochs, rivers, freeze all year round, and a few times a week, and either swim or stand there and feel really, really cold. But it's called wild swimming in the wild, and you have all the nature, and it's fantastic. And I meet a lot of clients there because people that love chiropractic love to be out in nature, don't they?
Oh yeah. Yep. So that's pretty cool stuff. I'll have to come over and try it. But let's talk more about this Scottish Chiropractic School, because I know that's an upstart project that is going to have some huge potential that you guys are starting. So give us the ideas around it and where you guys are headed right now.
Yes. So the program was the brainchild of Ross McDonald and of Dave, who was from New Zealand Chiropractic College. And that's very much where the program has come from. So we have the whole curriculum already created for the 5-year program, that it's like nothing this country has ever seen, because yes, it has all the evidence base and all the grounding, but it's very much based in chiropractic philosophy and very supportive of the work of like Heidi Havoc and things like that. And it also has a lot of personal development, and we're going to teach our chiropractors how to run a business, because you don't get that here. And so what happens is you have your level of education, then you go out, and it's basically luck who you meet and how you're treated and what you learn. And I feel it's really important for me personally anyway, if you're a person on the street you need choice. And if everybody looks the same and we then become the same as a physiotherapist or an osteopath or some other form of medic, you're not giving that person choice to choose what it is that they need for them. So I think it's really important that the Scotland College is there putting out good stuff and representing a different set of values within chiropractic, so that we have a voice in this country, and so that, we've, God forbid I bring up the pandemic, but there's a huge range in people's choices, and no matter where you are on the spectrum, for me the highest value is everyone having the freedom to have that opinion. And so we don't want to see everything just pushed into one particular way of seeing the world, because that's just not life, is it?
So with everything that you know and everything you've learned up until now, if you had to start a practice all over again from square one, what would be the first thing that you do to start scheduling new patients?
Well, I did, because I sold my old practice to come and help with the Scotland College. So I started again 10 months ago after 10 years, which was terrifying. But what was so awesome is I got really clear on who I am as a person and my values and what I enjoy. And then I really work hard. Everything on the website, everything I say, everything I do speaks to those people. And in fact, a couple, like my father-in-law rang me. He's like, do you even treat men? And what's going on? Because he's quite a pain-based medicalized guy. And of course, he gets adjusted, but he doesn't kind of follow my thinking process. So I've just been so clear about who I am. And so the kind of person coming, and because what I do speaks to them, it's just been such, like, the retention has been just phenomenal compared to when you bend and try and become everything for everyone, right? So I found my tribe.
So let's talk about that. How did you develop your avatar, and who is your tribe?
So I did a lot of work. I'll be honest, I had some psychotherapy as well. Like, I realized in my old practice, I was always trying to follow what somebody else does. You see another chiropractor really happy, really thriving, really successful, so you emulate that. And I did. And I used to see many, clients a week in a day. And it drained me because it wasn't actually my perfect setup. So I just did everything I could to push all of that away, and all of the kind of, because I'm competitive and I want to feel like I'm doing a really good job. And it's like, and if I put all the noise aside, what do I want? And so I've created a practice which is so neat and profitable. I only have to see 1/5 of the clients I used to see to have the same money at the end of the day. And of course I can see more, but it's given me so much time to swim. I'm learning to ride horses and paddleboard and support the college. And I wrote a book, and just space for creativity, because the people that really love you are happy to pay more. They're happy to come when you're free. It's just like a much better relationship, I think.
Well, I love what you're saying there. And a lot of times when I hear a chiropractor that finds their niche market within the profession, they're not chasing down all types of cases and all types of client style. They start just taking care of one group and focusing on that model, and they don't get the wrong type of people showing up for care. And, if just for instance, if there's a personal injury doctor out there, they get that type of client, and that doesn't have typically a long-term relationship as a practice or a practitioner, and it has a very transient style case, but a high dollar amount. And if you want that, go for it. But some focus on, pediatrics and moms, and those people, like you're saying, they build this micro tribe that is very loyal. There's a huge PVA, patient visit average, and you actually take care of your local community. And as you said earlier, the mothers are the ones that make the decisions for the families. So when you start getting the moms under care, that means that we get the family under care, and guys like your dad eventually will wander on in and take their medical mindset and get adjusted, because the mom says, you should probably do this, hubby. And it makes for a healthy family then.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So let's talk about you. The practice sounds like it's going in a good direction. The college sounds like it's going in a good direction. You wrote this book. I would like to talk to you a little bit about the book.
Yeah. Were you going to ask something? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. What was the impetus around it? And I guess, what are you seeing happening because of becoming an author? You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
So there's a saying, right? You write the book you need to read. And I was so confused. I will be honest. I've been in chiropractic 15, 16 years. And even 2 years ago, like, I couldn't make it all make sense in my head. And if I couldn't, my God, my clients could not either. So it's based sharing my stories and stories of clients I've seen and podcasts I've listened to, and just collating all this information because I needed to get it clear so that I can work at the college, so we can create a new tribe of chiropractors, so that I can create a new practice style that isn't based on all my old confused messages. And it's just showing people that really bigger picture of health and talking to them on a level that they care about, and then trying to narrow it down to their nervous system, and introducing some interesting ideas, how the end of our fingers, like, there's no difference between the end of our bodies and the world around us on like a electron level, just like trying to open people's minds to certain questions. And then there's the 4th chapter is kind of a practical one with, steps to create new habits and lifestyle changes. And I wrote it partly just to get it all out of me, because I've just been writing it in my head for years. And I give it to every one of my clients. I sell it in the local bookstores, and people read it and they come in, and it's the book. And then other chiropractors have bought it and put it in their office, because if someone has a question, you're like, just read the book. And not everyone does read the book, but it's in loads of little chapters. It's dead easy. I wrote it for people just having a coffee or sitting on the toilet, and you can read a couple of chapters. And I've sold 1,000 copies since February, and I haven't done any marketing yet. I really do need to market it. But I did start my practice at the same time, and so that maybe wasn't the right way. And so 2022 is going to be my time to kind of put that out there.
Well, congratulations on your early success with it.
Thank you.
Oh, let's do some marketing now. What's it called? Where can they buy it?
Yeah. Well, not on Amazon, because they make it a nightmare if you don't publish with them. So it's called You Are the Answer, Why It's Time to Trust Your Body. And you can get it at www.lifeandlightchiropractic.co.uk. And there's a little tab on there and book, and you can buy it there, and it goes anywhere in the world.
Awesome.
And then I donate copies to students.
Lifeandlightchiropractic.uk.
.co.uk.
Yeah.
.co.uk. Gotcha. Well, cool. So what are some things that you like to do for your own personal health and the health of your family?
So something that was interesting, when I was busy working really heavily and busily in a model that wasn't truly aligned to who I am, I didn't do hardly anything for myself or any hobbies. And it's only through creating that space and changing my practice. I am into things I never knew. Like, I go horse riding every Tuesday, completely. I'm not good, but I do really enjoy it. It's very challenging. We do paddle boarding. So just getting out in nature, the swimming, the walking, everything. That's the wonderful thing about Scotland. We don't have the weather, but we have the views. On where I live, I am right next to the mountains, and 20 minutes from the beach, 20 minutes from the forest, 20 minutes from the city. So you can just enjoy all of that. and we have so much family time together, which is great. And I think that's super important. And I have a 6-year-old daughter, so I know the next 10 years is probably the most important to be around. And it's interesting because we lose a lot of women chiropractors in the UK. And my colleague and I, Sarah Keen, are just launching at the end of this month our own coaching program, really designed to try and help women realize that there is no job on the planet that's better for looking after a family than chiropractic. It's so flexible, it's so open, and it's, you know, it's a really good way of taking care of your family. So yeah, I've just created everything around the lifestyle we wanted to lead.
Well, it sounds like the whole opportunity of coming to Scotland and helping with the college gave you a lot of extra white space to work with, and maybe reinvestigate who you are, launch a book, open a new practice, which I think are really cool things and great initiatives for somebody that was a seasoned chiropractor of a decade. And, you know, journeying into this message a little bit deeper, you're doing this new thing. You said you're getting people together for retreats. You said that you're doing some free swimming things and some Wim Hof style stuff. What else would you recommend to somebody that might not be as traditionally, I guess, used to being a practitioner? Somebody that might be newer in practice, or somebody that might be maybe struggling a little bit. What advice would you give them to stay connected to their local community and to maybe grow something to incubate patient growth and practice growth and that type of idea?
So I would always say just start where you're already at. So start with your hobbies, the things you love to do, the people you love to be around, and then just have the courage to have a conversation with them, because you might be really sports based. I have a few athletes that come to see me, but it's not my jam. But you will already know people and be a part of something, and you're probably just not using it. Something I learned in the last year is we do a lot of great things, like we have a great website, or you might do a good webinar, or you might write a book or have a lovely report or findings folder, but you don't actually use it. So you don't get people to refer back to things. You don't talk about it enough. We think, well, we told them once, we're not going to say it again. They don't get it. So I would, just find a group of people that seem to get you and you feel comfortable around, and being like, hey, I'm a chiropractor. How can I help you? Because we know we can help everyone. So we just like, is it sleep? Is it performance? Is it recovery? Is it, what's the thing that the group wants? And just start talking to them about it. And then you'll get to know what's going to be a good fit for you, I think.
So how do you see chiropractic evolving over the next 20 years or so?
Well, that depends what happens, doesn't it? I would really like to see people like putting kind of down their protective armor around how they see chiropractic or certain words, because a word is just a word. And I tend to find when you look at someone's intentions, everyone's on the same page. And for me, chiropractic is a whole spectrum, which starts in pain and ends like into the spiritual, and you can be anywhere in between that you want to be. And my personal view in the UK, especially, I don't know what it's like for you guys in the US, we're still a relatively really, really small profession. And I would really like to see us over the next 20 years grow and just become curious. Be like, oh, that's interesting that, you think you can do that, or you see this happening. Let's try and understand why, rather than going, well, that's wrong or scary, and vice versa. I understand there's a group of people for whom working in our local hospitals would be a fantastic thing for them to do. But for me, the bigger picture is how can we even put chiropractic on the map? Because in the UK, there's like 3,500 of us, and I believe about 9,000 osteopaths and tens of thousands of physios. So we are so small, no one's hearing us anyway. And I would really like to see that change and grow. And we have, in my experience anyway, always been quite a curious and open-minded profession, and I don't want to see that change. And I think the minute any of us are closed to what the other person has to say, we've kind of lost it. So, yeah, bigger and more curious, I hope.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think, knowing that you have a future of working in the education model for chiropractors is a big thing that can make a huge impact going forward too. And the more that we have philosophically sound, vitalistically sound chiropractors doing the education model, we actually produce real chiropractors that understand chiropractic and not a medicalized style of chiropractic, which I think when people will listen to this, they'll have some questions for themselves and become more curious about that. And I believe that that's a huge conversation that we can have in the future. But, chiropractic is chiropractic is chiropractic. And there's everything else that it's not. And, I believe that there are, certain lines of care for, crisis care, emergency care, and chiropractic is vitalistic care. It keeps the body healthy long term and adds nothing extra in, takes nothing out, but removes the interference, allows the body to heal naturally, which is a beautiful thing. And once people get that, BJ Palmer called that the big idea. And I think, just knowing those things can give distinction to so many people that might have questions about what chiropractic really does or what it really stands for. And as I opened up the call today is the sacred trust. And like I said, go Google that if you guys don't know what that is, because that's something that's very vital by having actual chiropractic being in the education model of chiropractic. And I admire you for stepping into the education role, because I think a lot of practitioners 10 years on should consider coming back in and educating the future chiropractors. So where we actually are nurturing the future of the profession too, with great minds, great technique, and the capacity to learn more, do more, and really rise the future up rather than point and say, we got this wrong, but what can we do? And I love that you're taking action. So congratulations for that. Let's turn the page a little bit. I know we're getting towards the edge of our interview with you. Let's talk about maybe some of your influences and heroes that you've had along your journey to be who you are today.
So I thought about this, but definitely my number one. Do you guys know who Brene Brown is?
Yes. Yep.
The world researcher in vulnerability and courage and shame. So for me, the area of chiropractic I love the most is how putting that, removing the interference, getting your nervous system in ease, changes how you show up as a person. Like I've had people leave their jobs, do all these things as a result of actually, reconnecting with their bodies and who they are. And for me, it's the personal side that really gets me. And Brene Brown has done so much work on the other side, like the psychology into the body. And I, of course, always do body into the psychology. And it's helped me make so many links that have allowed me to communicate chiropractic so much more effectively to people. And the work that she does, and Glenn and Doyle, and there's actually a whole group of them coming out of Texas, are really normalizing these conversations. They're making it, trendy, and they're talking. They all have great podcasts, and they're talking to other scientists, and they are, representing. And I'm all going, it's chiropractic for goodness sake, but they just have it under different words or terms. But it's bringing all of that into the public arena, so that when you, Jim, like you just described chiropractic beautifully. But if someone's heard their work, they kind of go, oh, okay, that fits with something I already know and hear and is a bit more socially acceptable. Whereas if you've never heard anything like that before, you're just like, oh, that's too uncomfortable for me. I don't understand it. There's nothing more terrifying than feeling like you're the one that's got to do the healing, right? That's scary for people. So, yeah, it is my dream one day to be on her podcast, but she had Barack Obama on, so I don't know if I missed the boat. But I can dream.
Well, you did make it to Chiro Hustle, so welcome.
And as Jim mentioned, we're just about at the end of our interview. So why don't we end on a nice miracle story? Do you have any miracle stories that you've seen happen in your office?
I do. I'm going to tell you, my best referrer so far in my 9-month-old practice is the local nurse giving out COVID shots. But she actually sent her son to me who'd had, do you know how you can sometimes be born with what they think is like an unborn twin inside of you, and there's tissue and all the rest of it, and it becomes like a tumor? Well, he'd actually had one in his eye, and then it grew and grew and grew. And of course, after 20, his skull stopped growing and it just started coming out of his eye. So they took the tumor out, but his brain could never assimilate like what's life like. He was born with that in his skull and it's grown with him, and then it was gone. And he just had all these, strange neurological symptoms, and his balance was terrible, and he's a rugby player, and he had headaches and double vision. And there was nothing anybody can do. And she read my book. And so she just came knocking on my door one day and be like, can you help my son? And, he was a miracle story because, of course, second or third adjustment, all of his symptoms went away and he absolutely loved it. But she has been meeting all of these people with weird cases or fibromyalgia and all of these things, and just sending them to my door. And a lady said to me the other week that she's not thinking about committing suicide anymore because she'd been in chronic pain. It's the same story, isn't it? I was told there's nothing anyone could do. This nurse said you helped her son, maybe you can help me. And it's really humbling, and it's really, really awesome. And it's why I think, back pain is covered. It's covered by so many other professions, covered by so many drugs, but hope and well-being is not well covered. And I'm just much happier being in that arena. I think it's really, really vital that we don't lose it.
Well,
So- Go ahead.
the chiropractic truth prevails once again.
So the website is lifeandlightchiropractic.co.uk.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there any other websites you want to share with our listeners? Any other places they can go to learn more about you?
No, that is my main place. I'm not a huge internet person. I'm a people person. But I keep it limited.
Well, Naomi, we want to thank you for being our guest today on the Chiro Hustle podcast. You are episode 312, and you have joined a great group of people that have spoken the truth about chiropractic on our show and have helped us weave this documentation and make this a beautiful tapestry of the message of chiropractic for all far and wide to hear. And I want to give you a big thank you for doing what you're doing and upstarting new and going and following a big vision to help with this chiropractic college in Scotland.
Thank you so much. I hope doing it by creating the right chiropractors, we're going to influence a lot more lives that way, aren't we? By educating
Amen.
them from the start.
Well, we would like you to enjoy the rest of your evening. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Naomi, for being our guest today. And this was a really cool episode, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you for having me.
Bye for now.
We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.